Breaking news, a shark attack has occurred at a local beach. Sure, statistically shark attacks are actually very uncommon, but we need you to be as afraid of sharks as humanly possible. Sure, more people fall off ladders than get attacked by sharks, but you're not gonna watch local man falls off a ladder, ouchie wouchie. No, you wanna hear about shark attacks so you can be afraid. Therefore, we need to ensure you are as afraid of sharks as possible so you have a preconceived notion that they're terrible. Does that sound familiar? The way the media talks about shark attacks is comparable to the way they talk about transgender people in general, right? I think that's the main reason that people have resonated so much with this little sharky here. It is true, there will always be a bad apple or a misunderstood circumstance, right? Yeah, sharks aren't really that worried about humans. They'll only attack humans if they feel, well, threatened. And, sharks can't really go on podcasts to defend their viewpoint when news anchors always say bad things about them. Blahaj the shark plushie has become a bit of a trans icon, lovely audience, and I wanted to explore perhaps why. I would say the media scrutiny and misunderstanding of sharks is probably a major component, right? Debatably also, it might be the mix of Blahaj being very cute, but representing something powerful, a shark. Right? So it might be a mix of, well, when you transition, you start presenting like, you know, a different gender, then you swap to another gender and you're experiencing lots of different expectations of how tough or soft you're meant to be, I guess. So maybe Blahaj is like a perfect in-between between expectations of tough masculinity and feminine softness. That's why it's possible. That could be the connection. But let's go a little deeper. So historically, let's work our way backwards. So here we are today. Blahaj is a trans icon for all. Let's go back a little bit. 2021, IKEA does an ad in support of gay marriage. It's a very cute ad showing a plushie and another plushie being a wonderful couple. On an IKEA bed that you can buy, of course, but that's beside the point. A lot of people have attributed the IKEA ad as the origin of queer popularity of Blahaj. But I think that's a cart before the horse kind of thing. Understand that this ad exists because queer people like Blahaj, right? So without that, this ad might not have existed. It's possible this ad could have existed anyway due to same-sex marriage being legalized there, but they specifically put Blahaj in the picture, I guess. So understand that that's a response to the rapid popularity of Blahaj. You could also attribute Blahaj's popularity perhaps to the overlap between trans people and the autism spectrum, as people that experience the autism spectrum might be a little statistically more likely to still like cute little plushies like these, even at adult age, and that's perfectly valid. I have a stack of them over there, that's fine. Another possible reason is that this shark here wasn't always named Blahaj, perhaps an experience we can relate to. You see, this little shark here, at least earlier versions of them right here, well, they looked a little different, didn't they? They also had a different name, I guess. So maybe in an unintentional sense, perhaps that resonated with some trans people early on. It's hard to say. But just remember, if you feel like you're at the start of the journey and you'll never get there in the end, just remember, this is Blahaj at the start of the journey in 2008. Oh, how we grow. Another possible theory is that Blahaj's color scheme is trans flag colored, you know, like this one here. Debatably, the blue is a little different, and also the eye has a little bit of like brown. So obviously not intentional, that's a given, but for whatever reason, I guess, yeah, I can see it. It could be a reason. It's worth saying that like anytime there's a character with like a trans color scheme these days, they are attributed or headcanoned as trans. For example, Tatora in Pokemon Champions. So even though this is probably the least interesting theory, it's probably one of the more likely ones, I guess, because, well, we've seen this so many times of trans people online finding like a character that has trans colors, and we just decide they're trans, I guess. So maybe we did it for a shark plushie, I guess. In the 2010s, if we go back a little further, Blahaj was already an internet meme, but in a different way. As you might know, there was a big trend in the 2010s of making photos of Blahaj in human-like positions, such as sitting at a table, studying, doing relatable human stuff. I would say maybe Blahaj already being part of internet culture and a very online space Could be a reason. I mean, if there's already an icon within the like pop culture zeitgeist on the internet and a bunch of trans people notice the colors, I could see it. All right, so Blahaj was a meme icon of the 2010s, but could we find the first trans-specific Blahaj meme? Maybe. Google Trends, for example, spiked search results for a Blahaj trans at around 2021, which would coincide roughly with IKEA's wonderful ad capitalizing on the popularity of Blahaj's association with the LGBT community. If I've learned anything about queer culture on the internet in the 2010s English-speaking sphere, I've learned that a lot of it comes from Tumblr. So this reporter is going to do a little bit of an investigation. Let's check every year on Tumblr from 2012 to 2021. Let's see if we can find the first trans Blahaj Tumblr post. Let's do it. Let's acknowledge the limitations of this search. 1, not everything comes from Tumblr. A lot of things did, but not everything. 2, I'm spelling Blahaj like this. Also, it means I can only find English-speaking posts. Just keep that in mind. Just bear in mind, some Tumblr profiles will be deleted. Maybe just people feeling like their teenage years were cringe or that kind of thing, or perhaps moving platforms. Just keep that in mind. I'm only going to use posts that are publicly still available because I don't really want to dig up someone's deleted posts, at least for this. All right, so we basically have nothing until 2014. That's because Blahaj got their new name in 2014. I couldn't really find anything significant before that with the word IKEA shark anyway, so we're just gonna go from this point in history, right? Okay, so in 2014, there's not too much. It's just the general put Blahaj in a relatable human situation as a meme. Me when I got the test tomorrow, that kind of thing. With Tumblr's search feature, I only found 4 posts in 2014 that said Blahaj in the text body, so just keep that in mind. But for 2015, there's actually quite a few more. It's growing. 2015 was pretty standard. Blahaj studying in memes, Blahaj being someone's wonderful boyfriend, very wholesome. Blahaj making life 15% better. And Raiden riding into battle on the back of a Blahaj to slay Mordecai in battle. Huh.
You want to know who else says trans rights?
This is the first time I've seen Blahaj associated with video games and therefore nerd culture in general. Raiden was pretty popular with Gen Z gamers, right? I think it became quite a big meme. You've probably seen images like these. So perhaps Raiden slaying Mordecai on the back of a Blahaj was necessary in order for us to get trans rights and Blahaj to be associated with those trans rights. Perhaps there was a correlation, a spark, a catalyst. Perhaps this specific post is the being, the origin, the egg of creation of the trans community as we know it on the internet today. Or not. Welcome to 2016. Gay marriage has been legal in America for a little bit, and if I've learned anything from the internet, only American issues are allowed to matter, and my Australian woes are deemed irrelevant on the internet. But despite that, there's actually not a single post related to being queer specifically with Blahaj. Sure, there's people that are queer talking about Blahaj, I guess, but it's still not associated with queer culture. What gives? I thought this is when the catalyst was meant to happen. I thought this was when the world was allowed to be gay. American news wouldn't lie to me, right? That said, this art here, that's adorable and honestly pretty similar to a lot of Blahaj art we see today. So maybe not for queer specific reasons, but maybe this is the start of people drawing Blahaj in this manner, being a comfy friend, I guess. It was actually one of the only art pieces I really found in my search of Blahaj, which I found surprising because Tumblr is where the art kids kind of lived in the 2010s, but whatever, right? Maybe I should have checked DeviantArt. We've reached 2017 and that was the year I graduated high school. Irrelevant to this video, but I wanted to share regardless. Because there's nothing else to talk about this year because there's not really anything new in the Tumblr department. Tell you what, let's fast forward a little. welcome to 2018 to 20... What? Welcome to... Look, I found nothing. I found nothing. All the way up until 2019. Heck, even 2020. There's no queer post related to this shark. Did you all make it up? Was this fake? Did this all somehow happen as a catalyst in 2021 and 2021 alone? How is that possible? Are you telling me that we went this entire time of 2010's Tumblr and there's not a single post of Blahaj says trans rights, Blahaj says gay rights even? Nothing. There's not a single image of Blahaj in front of a pride flag. How is that possible? I was convinced I would find something scrolling through Tumblr. I scrolled so much that it yelled at me for not having an account. Not even in the year of 2020. You know, that year we were allergic to the sun and kept doom scrolling. Somehow, trans Blahaj didn't exist then. Plenty of eggs were cracking all over, but maybe it really was just the influx of people that's eggs cracked in 2020 and they came into their own in 2021. Perhaps the trans culture that I knew growing up was a thing of the past then. Maybe this new wave, well, they had their own memes, their own experiences, their own perspectives, and perhaps, in a way, the trans culture I knew as a teenager has perhaps become a blip in time. Perhaps a past that won't be remembered. But this shark's pretty cute. I welcome them as part of the trans community, for whatever reason. Don't know why, but perhaps we'll never know. And maybe that's okay. Perhaps, like a lot of memes nowadays, they don't really make sense. And I think that's fine. And assuming absurdist memes are only a Gen Alpha thing is a little foolish. As we've been kind of doing nonsense memes since memes existed. Like, seriously, what does E mean? Nyan Cat was a meme well before Hatsune Miku's Western popularity. So, I guess things just don't make sense. And that's fine. Once you start searching 2021 trans Blahaj, there they are. They did it. Part of the trans cultural zeitgeist as we know it. Why? We'll never know. And it can feel weird at times that things I associated with trans culture when I started aren't the first things that pop into our mind when we think of trans culture. But honestly, compared to some of the stereotypes we had before and the images of trans people we had before, honestly, the stereotype ain't half bad. I like it. Works out for me. I like plushies. But yeah, just keep this in mind when the next generation of trans people have their own thing, right? I think Blahaj's been generally accepted by various generations of online trans people, even if they weren't really there for the boom of it, but there'll be a new one. But we'll always remember Blahaj. At least the people that were there for it. And that's fine. And it really shows we gotta make the most of things when we have them. And we don't know how culture will change or how we view trans experience at all. Perhaps these new ideas will challenge us. Perhaps these new ideas will be confronting. Maybe it'll contradict what we have always known. But as we inch closer to more inclusivity, I'm excited to learn ways that we're able to better include everyone in the queer experience. And maybe what we call it will change. Maybe the thing we talk about it will change. Maybe the general discussion, culture, everything. We don't know. And that's okay. So, if you're really attached to the Blahaj meme, just know it's okay to love this little sharky. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you find Blahaj gets less popular in the future, That's fine. You still have Sharky. And if Blahaj remains a transcultural, like, zeitgeist moment TM for years to come, then I guess we got to be there from when it happened. And that's pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this video about Blahaj the shark. I enjoyed making it. It was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought this was going to be a boring topic, but honestly, it was interesting to have a look. My research was nowhere near exhaustive at all. So if you're curious, feel free to check other websites or other information and see if you can find out why Blahaj is so popular with the trans community. If you find a good answer, let me know. As for me, I'm going to go enjoy some food. So let me throw this microphone that isn't actually recording my voice to the side and prepare for a nice lunch. Probably curry. I'm excited for it. If you like this video, like the video, comment something really friendly. If you don't know what to comment, maybe just type like, funny shark, yay, I enjoyed the video or something. Or tell me a memory you have with Blahaj. I love reading it. Engagement's great, but I also love reading the comments. It's really heartwarming. And it really fuels what I do as I want to help the trans community. If you want to hear more videos about trans experience, let me know and subscribe. If you have a topic you want me to cover in this channel, let me know in the comments or on my Blue Sky, and I'll consider it and give it a go. As always, lovely audience, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.